All right, here's a long, detailed story in English about how an ordinary person went from nothing to building a billion-dollar fortune. The billion-dollar journey Daniel Brooks was born in a small town in Ohio. His father was a mechanic, his mother a school teacher. They were good, hardworking people, but money was always tight. Daniel grew up wearing hand-me-downs, learning to fix things instead of buying new ones, and watching his parents stretch every dollar. By the time he was a teenager, he promised himself that one day he'd break free from the cycle of just enough. But life didn't make it easy. After college, Daniel found himself working at a mid-sized insurance company as a customer service representative. It wasn't glamorous. He made just enough to pay rent and his student loans. Every day, he'd sit in a cubicle answering angry calls from clients, wondering if this was all life had to offer. Yet Daniel had one thing most people around him didn't: a burning desire to create something of his own. Every night after work, instead of watching TV, he read books on entrepreneurship, finance, and technology. He devoured biographies of people like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Sarah Blakely. The more he read, the more restless he became. The first idea one evening, while waiting in line at a grocery store, Daniel noticed people fumbling with discount coupons on their phones. The idea struck him. What if there was an app that automatically scanned receipts and gave instant cashback rewards? He knew nothing about coding. He had no savings, but he had an idea. So he saved $5,000 over the course of 6 months, eating ramen noodles, skipping nights out, and even selling his old car for extra cash. With that money, he hired a freelance developer overseas to build a prototype. The first version of his app, called Snapback, was clunky and buggy, but worked just enough to prove the concept. He convinced a local coffee shop to partner with him, offering customers $1 cashback if they scanned their receipts. It wasn't much, but it was a start. The struggle years the next 3 years nearly broke him. He pitched to over 150 investors, and almost every single one said no. He maxed out 3 credit cards just to keep the servers running. He worked 12-hour shifts at his day job, then stayed up all night fixing bugs with his developer. He had weeks where he didn't know how he'd pay rent. At his lowest point, Daniel was eating peanut butter sandwiches for every meal. His friends started to drift away. His girlfriend left, saying she couldn't watch him chase a fantasy anymore. But Daniel refused to quit. He reminded himself of the promise he made as a teenager to break free. The breakthrough one morning, an email arrived from a mid-sized supermarket chain. Someone from their innovation department had stumbled across Snapback and wanted a meeting. Daniel wore his only decent suit, took a Greyhound bus to Chicago, and pitched with everything he had. The supermarket chain agreed to test Snapback in 50 stores. Within 3 months, customer engagement rose by 28%, and the chain expanded the program to all of its locations. Suddenly, Snapback wasn't just an idea, it was a business. That deal attracted investors. First came a $2 million seed round, then a $15 million Series A. Daniel built a small but driven team, moving operations into a tiny office with mismatched furniture. Scaling to the next level over the next 5 years, Snapback grew explosively. Daniel introduced AI-driven receipt scanning, expanded partnerships with national retailers, and even added financial tools that helped users budget based on their spending history. By year 7, Snapback had 50 million active users partnerships with over 200 national retailers' revenue, exceeding $500 million annually when a major investment firm approached with an offer to acquire Snapback for $1. $2 billion. Daniel couldn't believe it. The boy who once lived on peanut butter sandwiches had just built a billion-dollar company.